Okay, moving on to item number 16. Ms. Limon, can you get us going here?
Should I say good morning, Commissioners? Sylvia Limon with Development Services Review. This item before you is Villas at Vinson Oak subdivision. It's located at 4511 Vinson Drive. The applicant is taking a little over 1 acre and turning them into 8 lots. There are some flag lots included in it. And the existing zoning is SF3 and P. The application and the variance have all been reviewed and cleared by city staff to meet the regulations, and we recommend approval.
Any questions for staff? Thank you. Will the applicant please come forward?
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for your time this evening. I know it's late. I'll keep my comments brief. My name is Tony Justino. Here to present to you my project, Villas of Vinson Oak, a 2-acre infill development in South Austin. Our project lies along Vinson Drive. We've divided this subdivision into 8 lots of comparable size to lots in the neighborhood. The northern 4 lots use the flag lot design as prescribed per the code due to the varying westward nature of Vinson Drive. We have limited access to the subdivision by a joint use driveway / easement. We've added a stop sign for safety. Cars will be able to ingress and egress head first, unlike many of the lots along Vincent. The speed limit along Vincent is 25 miles an hour in this neighborhood. We have worked around a heritage tree. We have added for safety a sidewalk along Vinson Drive. I have videos of people walking on Vinson Drive. There's no sidewalks, at least along our development there will be. Also, we work really hard with the city and our engineers to develop a good drainage design. We have retention ponds on our lots. No other lots in the neighborhood have retention ponds. In short, we've developed this with licensed Texas engineers per the code. It's been legally reviewed by the city and our council, and also we paid all the fees to get to this point. Since we've done everything asked per the code and city, we kindly request that you approve this subdivision. Thank you very much. I forgot to show you the pictures. If you need more information, I can be available.
Any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Seeger? Sir,
you have to
sir, would you like to?
You have to come back. I remember when you brought the zoning case to us, and we had long discussions and decided on SF3. And one of the reasons, and one of the things we talked through at that time, was not going into the full critical root zone of that heritage tree. We had talked about bringing the ingress, egress on the other side of the critical root zone. I see that it looks as though you're bringing it through the half critical root zone.
So actually, I think when you remember me from over a year ago, you all unanimously approved the rezone. That was an SF6 rezone application. It did not get the supermajority at City Council, so I got 8 votes. So I don't believe we spoke of that particular thing here, but we are avoiding the critical root zone, as you can see by the design. So,
how much of the critical is it? Half? The half critical? Okay.
Yes, says the engineer.
And you're proposing 8 duplex units on these lots?
No, right now, because there's one driveway, it is 8 single. Should another driveway entrance be introduced, you could, but right now it is for 8 residential lots of single.
just single? Because they kind of look like they're mirror
Those
images.
those are not part of the plat.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, other questions? Commissioner Thompson?
Can you remind us what's happening with the railway right away there? Has that been moved forward? Has the city moved forward on that one?
I'm sorry, the question is about the railroad right-of-way?
Yeah, I think the city was going to maybe make a trail there, but
So I know that there's I believe there's a project approved, or at least about to be approved by the city, a $1.2 million project to study this for a trail. Yes, I've read that recently.
Commissioner McGraw?
So, just remind me, so this is now back to SF3, is that correct? Is that what
That's
you're saying?
correct.
And so, these are 8 lots, and how big are these lots?
They are comparable to the surrounding neighborhood. It's almost 2 acres divided by 8. They're about 0.23-ish, and the neighborhood's between 0.2 and 0.25, so very similar.
Square footage? What size lots
They're-
are these?
They are all above 7,000 square feet. It's true.
So they're duplex lots?
Of the size of duplex lots, I will say that, yes, correct.
And, well, tell me this, because the flag lots are so completely foreign to how the buildings sit on this, is this just one condominium regime? Is that how this
No,
works?
they're 8 individual SF3 lots.
Joint use agreement.
So it has a joint use agreement. So what do you get taxed for?
SF3,
I mean, the flag
Parts.
lot configuration's very odd, but are you just taxed on your flag lot, however big that is, because they're different sizes, and then you just have a joint access agreement, but it's kind of baffling, anyway.
Any other questions? So you mentioned that maybe duplex if there's a second access. So what's restricting you right now? The single access, is it a fire code or?
No, I would have had to do a transportation study according to the transportation department, and I just didn't have the time or resources to do that right now. And so we agreed that this is what they recommended, and we agreed with that. So we've left it at that.
But it's still open. It could be in the future if someone decides to do that study.
Perhaps. I mean,
Right.
I'm not personally going to do
Gotcha.
that, but perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, sir. We've got several folks signed up to speak in opposition. Larry Murphy, you'll have 5 minutes.
I'm Ray Collins. I'm taking 5 minutes.
Are you taking the 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have a 3-minute donor.
Okay, let me see if I can find that. Kim Lanzanotti? No? Who's your donor, sir? What's your name, ma'am?
Peggy Dunn.
Margaret Dunn, got it. Go ahead, sir.
The system of which you are a part produces subdivisions in which emergency responders don't achieve timely access to Austinites dialing 911. Knowing this, planning commissioners approached the Public Safety Commission, which sought the expertise of Fire Marshal Rob Rees last January 8th. Quote, he said, "The criteria manual for the fire department shows us being included at the 3rd step without all the stakeholders, the fire department specifically, having had a chance to look it over. Ideally, a fire engineer, would be in the room," referring to being in the room with the development services reviewers, the transportation subdivision reviewer, drainage reviewer. There was an Austin firefighter present for the April 5th contact team's unanimous vote opposing variances for the flag lots at the far distal end of the driveway in your backup. His immediate reaction to the driveway before you was highly negative. City of Austin Ordinance Number 2012-0524-139 states that the Planning Commission, quote, shall grant a variance to allow flag lots if the commission finds that the subdivision has provided accessibility for emergency responders. In the case manager's reports for the applicant's updates, of which number 5 is before you tonight, the subdivision reviewer restates the flag lot ordinance, quote, has provided accessibility for emergency responders. This is done by obtaining a sign-off from the fire department, unquote. The transportation reviewer, the person responsible for the driveway, states in every update that the applicant, quote, must obtain a written signature from the area fire service providers acknowledging their approval of the joint use driveway, end quote. In every update, including update 5 before you tonight, the transportation reviewer states that this requirement has not been met. Quote, update 5, comment not cleared, end quote. The emergency access requirements of the flag lot ordinance have not been met. There is no written record that the signed documents the subdivision reviewer refers to as sign-offs from AFD personnel have been executed. There is no written record that a document with a written, quote, a written signature from the area fire service providers acknowledging their approval of the joint use driveway, end quote, exists. There is nothing to indicate that the safety and property of the people residing on the 4 flag lots at the far end of the driveway are not at risk. In your backup, the case manager has assured you that meetings have occurred. I am not assured, and neither are my neighbors. The case manager's reports call for written signed documents. I have given you cause to doubt the existence of these documents. This discrepancy between, quote, meetings, unquote, and signed documents is one reason why the present system produces subdivisions in which timely emergency access cannot be achieved. The subdivision reviewer also restates the compatibility requirement of the flag lot ordinance, quote, is otherwise compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. This is done by providing a map exhibit showing surrounding lot sizes and other flag lots in the existing neighborhood that are comparable in size to your proposed flag lot, end quote. My first handout is an annotated version of the map with 2 spreadsheets on the back. The first spreadsheet shows the non-residential flag lots, which are incompatible for their uses, their zoning, and their square footage. There are no residential flag lots in Southwood near the Vinson Drive development. The closest is 7/10 mile by road and 3/10 mile as the crow flies, and isolated from the Vinson Drive development by the Union Pacific rail line dividing Southwood. The lot sizes are not compatible. The next smallest lot is 1,700 square feet smaller, and the next largest lot is 6,700 square feet larger. The square footages of the surrounding lots whose owners received notices are not compatible. My second handout. The spreadsheet on the back shows that half the surrounding lots range from 400 to 3,300 square feet smaller. The other half are from 650 to 65,000 square feet larger. The flag lots in the Vinson Drive development are not compatible with their surroundings and are in violation of the flag lot ordinance. And pardon me, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Ray Collins. I'm treasurer of the Southwood Neighborhood Association and a member of the South Manjack Combined Neighborhood Plan Contact Team.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Collins?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. David Swan? David? No? Okay, Kim Lanzalotti?
19.
Oh, this is 19. Sorry, I got my, oh, here we go. Ray Collins. And Larry Murphy's not here? Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. Name is Larry Murphy. I'm a parent and resident. I'm also was an active and involved member of the South Austin Combined Neighborhood Planning process and the neighborhood plan, which I believe was added October 2015. Contact South Manchac contact team member, and I'm also a Southwood Neighborhood Association officer. I'm here to again ask you to reject this application, following up on what Ray said on the flag lots, but also from the bigger picture. As we've heard all night tonight, our neighborhood plan was recently passed. It calls for walkable, bikeable, livable Austin. We're in support of denser development, but on our arterials, on the corridors, not in the interior of our neighborhood. And I'll come back to that. Children live in that neighborhood. Vinson Road is part of Bike Route 31. It is a subpar roadway. It is a problem. It is a T-intersection. It is a very narrow road, blinds sight lines, crosses the UP Bergstrom Spur at an odd angle, and ends at a T-intersection. It is already unsafe and untenable traffic-wise. And so I'm going to come back to that. Also, since that combined neighborhood planning process, we were part of what's called the Williamson Creek floodplain mitigation and buyout. So I wasn't in any floodplain. Then since this time period, I've been added to the 100-year floodplain, then the 50-year floodplain, and then now the 25-year floodplain, and my home is on the buyout plan. We're immediately downstream of this development. Any development that adds additional impervious cover just adds insult to injury. In other words, we've overdeveloped and did not plan or invest in our infrastructure, our transportation, our stormwater management. None of that has the city invested or kept up to par. We're buying people out as we continue to develop up at the top of our watershed and flood out people in our neighborhood below. And that brings me to another point. It seems to me that we're using a city code next that's not adopted as a potential possibility to provide housing opportunities for people that don't live here yet, and at the enrichment of developers. And we are absolutely failing the residents, the people that currently live and exist in Austin, Texas. It is so clear in this case and in others in our area that we're developing, again, if it's 8 lots, possibly duplex, that to me seemed very unclear, with one driveway access easement on a road that's already unsafe. To further contribute to the flooding is just untenable in our neighborhood. And so I'd like to ask you to, and that being said, we're also working closely and have been for quite some time with council members Pio Renteria, with Ann Kitchen, and with Steve Adler in his office on the Bergstrom Spur Trail. This is the perfect place to not develop, but to use as a trailhead for our people, for the Bergstrom Spur, an alternate to the problems that I'm outlining, the traffic, the congestion, the lack of livability that's being created by the overdevelopment in our area without the investment in infrastructure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Murphy? Okay, thank you. Will the applicant come forward for a 3-minute rebuttal?
Good evening. I'm Bruce Opperly. I'm the civil engineer, registered engineer on this project, or helping with this project, rather. If you'll put up the exhibit that I brought too also. I wanted to kind of respond to all that. We are putting in over $500,000 in infrastructure to build these 8 lots. So to say we're not putting infrastructure in, that's incorrect. We're doing a tremendous water project and wastewater project to get these in. To talk about emergency access, I was not a party to any of these meetings. They talked about having their fire guy come in. But we did have review during the whole process with the staff. So AFD was copied on all our applications. From that, we get their sign off on Amanda, so they clear their comments. I am not familiar with a requirement or a form for AFD to physically sign on to clear their comments. So I think that would be irregular for the process you go through to get a subdivision. As far as the driveway goes, we are putting the driveway where we thought it was the safest location on Vinson Drive. It does go around the tree. We do have some of the driveway inside the half critical, or outside. We never go within the half critical root zone, so it's all outside the half critical root zone. We do provide detention ponds on site. So we hope to let the drainage not exceed what leaves there now. It's the top of the watershed, so it should be, as long as we keep it on site, it should not impact anybody downstream. There were some other issues that you might have questions about, so I'm here to answer those kind of questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Shea.
So are you saying that Austin Fire Department, the comment has been cleared?
Yes. They're in the circulation of getting plans for our application, and they cleared them somewhere around the third, review. Okay. And Ms. Lamone can attest to that, and she sent you a memo that attesting to that.
So fire trucks, access in out,
right.
As far as for backing, because it's not continuous. So if they drive in, they got to be able to
Turn around.
There's a hammerhead. There's a turnaround at the end. And it meets the standards for their turnaround. There's actually 2 turnarounds proposed.
Okay, I see.
Commissioner Schistler.
So you've got subdivision construction plans for the water, wastewater, and detention.
If we get our variance approved, yes, we'll go ahead with those. We had to do kind of a preliminary, which I handed out tonight, to get water and wastewater completely satisfied.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant or the engineer?
Well, I do want to
Commissioner
clarify that the lot sizes are between 8,000 and 11,000 square feet. So when you say these lots are 300 square feet smaller, I don't know what that really means. So that was kind of ambiguous, what they were saying.
Commissioner McGraw, then Shaw.
Excuse me?
So,
Commissioner McGraw.
What?
Go ahead.
well, I think these questions might be more for staff, but maybe between you can clear this up. One of the issues I have with the flag lot process is we have discretion, but we don't get the documents. We get one document. And I'm just going to say right now on the record, I would like to always have all of these requirements because we need to know that the fire department has really signed off. We need to see this plan, which I had to ask for today. And we're supposed to have trees. I think it looks like all the trees are being cut down. All the trees are being cut down.
No. There are no trees to be cut down, and they're all shown on that plan.
Oh, it says tree to be removed, and that's green, and they're all green, so I didn't
they're not to
understand
be
that.
removed.
Oh, okay.
Solid line, not removed. Dash line, removed.
Oh, okay. It has a dot. I'm sorry, I couldn't understand that. Okay, so it's difficult because we're supposed to make a judgment on this, but we're not getting all the backup. The other thing I've noticed is the compatibility issue is really our main issue once we've seen that everything else has been signed off. And you're saying you have not yet done the utility plan. Is that correct?
No, we did a preliminary
You
plan.
did a preliminary.
Which is in
Okay.
front of you, and they have signed off.
Right. When it comes to compatibility, I've seen 2 things. And I think they're both in here. Staff says, well, there are similar lot sizes, or even there are lot sizes within 15% of these lot sizes. And the other thing is, well, there are flag lots in the neighborhood. And what that tells me is once you get a flag lot in your neighborhood, it's like dominoes. And this neighborhood has a lot of large lots. And I don't know that there's anything with the subdivision laws we have. I don't think there's anything you're going to do about flag lots coming in front of us every meeting, unless you can rezone your neighborhood to a minimum large lot size. So we do have discretion, but I am concerned about the length of that driveway. So we're just taking your word for it that fire department signed off because we don't have
Hi,
anything.
I'm Katie Weddick with Development Services Department. I'm the transportation reviewer. So I had worked with the applicant pretty closely regarding the driveways. They did originally have 2 driveways. Because of safety concerns, they went down to 1. This is why they're now limited to single family as opposed to duplexes, single units. And so when I saw the driveway change, I did flag that and contact the fire reviewer. So the fire reviewer should have then re-reviewed everything. They're still showing as approved in Amanda. They were aware of the driveway change, and they will be reviewing the construction plan for the driveway as well.
Okay, so can somebody tell me the limitation to single family where all these look like duplexes? Where is that noted? How will that be?
So in code, a joint use access easement, which is what they're proposing, is only allowed to serve 8 units. And so that'll be reviewed during residential review.
So when they come in for a building plan for each of those buildings?
So they could do any assortment of 8. It's my understanding they can do any assortment of 8 units, but you're limited to 8 units on one joint use access easement.
Is that a plat note or something? Where is that?
It's in the land development code.
No, I mean, where is it? It seems like it should be recorded for this project.
If it's not already a plat note, we can add it.
The reason it's not recorded is because it's per code, but it's a separate instrument for the joint access easement. So if that changes per code, whatever that code is, yes, that could change, but right now it is per code. But if you limit on the plat, it's separate from the separate easement. Or the separate,
So the residential reviewers have to know this. It's just something they're supposed to know.
The residential review department should be familiar with this.
Commissioner Shaw, then Anderson.
I just want to make sure I heard correctly. So there was a second driveway. It was removed. So the fire department has signed off on the single driveway?
Yes, I informed them that the driveway had changed.
Had changed, but have they signed off on it?
They're still showing as approved in Amanda, so I would...
What? Okay.
So
what was it already showed as approved and it was 2?
They acknowledged that they had seen my email and were aware of it. I don't know if there's been additional correspondence.
I mean, it should have, well, I'm not hearing that they really signed off. It's just like it was left signed off. And
I'm not aware that they are not signed off, but I never received something in my memory that says yes, definitely.
I don't think that's certain. And then what were the enhanced environmental and tree protection? How did, I don't think the description really shows an enhancement. So what was done to enhance environmental and tree protection for this project?
There are no trees removed. There's water quality and detention provided. If there has to be more trees planted, I'm sure we could do that.
I mean, are those code or is enhanced? I'm inferring that means.
I'm not sure that's defined anywhere in the code.
Okay, so you're meeting requirements.
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Anderson and Seeger.
This is a tough site. So I guess a question for staff. So this passed, we passed the same case with SF6 a year ago, is that right? Do you guys recall how many homes were on the site at that time?
There was a zoning case, and then there was a previous subdivision at the same time before both those applications were withdrawn, and then we have this subdivision that's before you now. The applicant could probably better tell you how many units he had been proposing with the zoning case. I don't recall what that was.
Do you guys recall?
Sorry, the SF6 rezone application had also one entrance, and it had 16, which I was giving 2 to smart housing.
Right. Well,
so this is
right
different. Yeah.
I'm sorry we couldn't pass that one at the next level, but there you go. So, this is a tough site, and you did what you could do. And a moment ago, we found an opportunity to tuck some new homes in East Austin. I think this is a great opportunity to tuck some new homes in South Austin. So, if we're ready for a motion.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Commissioner Seeger?
I have a question on the trees. On your list, it looks like you have 6 invasive trees. Are you going to be removing them?
We haven't proposed removing any trees.
That's what I thought I heard you say. So you're going to keep these old hackberries and chinaberries, huh?
Hackberry is an ordinance tree, so you can't just remove them.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Thompson.
Extend the meeting 30 minutes.
Second by Commissioner Seeger. All those in favor, please say aye.
Last
Aye. Any opposed?
Last one.
Not sure that passed. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Any opposed? Okay. That motion passes. All right. Commissioner Thompson, that was it? Okay. So for me, there's a couple of things that are not 100%. So we don't know if the fire review is 100%. I mean, it sounds like it's possible that it just stayed approved.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Causey. I had an email verifying from a staff member with the fire department saying that they were cleared on the plan.
And that was
that
after
is-
the change to the single driveway.
This was dated November the 8th of last
That
year.
doesn't mean anything. I mean, we can't, I mean, so I'll just stick to my comment about not 100%. It seems to me like we could draft a plat note that says if there's a single driveway to the joint access easement, that would be limited to 8 units. So that there's no question and the residential reviewer catches it. And that'll still leave a second driveway option open. Okay? Any further comments?
Comment.
Commissioner McGraw?
Well, Ms. Lamone, when I asked you about the other plans, the one you sent me today has the 2 driveways. So,
No. If you'll bring up what I
yeah,
gave you.
I see the one with the one
I
driveway.
understand that. It's been, trying to figure out what's what. We've had so many things going on with this application, so that was the last one that I had.
Yes.
And-
Well, I'm just making the point that it seems like this has really moved around a lot. And I think the other thing is the exhibit showing the nearby flag lots, I'm not real sold on that. And then as far as, I know these are large lots behind this. They may all come in for flag lots. I have no idea what's going to happen here. But it seems to me that we don't know how these lots stack up against other lot sizes in the area. It's kind of hard to understand.
Well, apparently this gentleman gave you a table that compared them. I haven't seen that.
A table? Well, the one I'm looking at, I could probably read. I printed it 8.5 by 11, so I'm sorry, I can't read it. I just can't read it.
Okay, let's
I mean, if he wants to come up and explain himself about what he found in his own neighborhood.
Well, what I'm talking about are our criteria where we have a discretion over, is it compatible with the neighborhood? And, of course, I think we care about whether it meets the other criteria.
The exhibit I
flag
gave
lots.
you shows a large area around us, the homes
Right.
on those lots, the edge of those lots compared to ours. So,
Right, that's a visual
yeah.
thing, and I'm trying to understand it. And those are fairly large lots, most of them. I can't tell too much about the flag lots. But I do support the idea that we somehow in this process, if this is limited to 8 units, I can just imagine a duplex being submitted, and I can't imagine review understanding that limitation. I don't know how that's done.
Commissioner Anderson?
Move to close the public hearing and move approval.
Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Kenny. Any comments? Commissioner Seeger?
I'd like to add a friendly to include plat notes indicating 6 units with 1 ingress egress.
8
I'm
units.
sorry, 8 units.
Is the motion maker okay with that?
Is that a problem for the applicant?
Sir, if you're going to come up, you just reintroduce yourself, please.
Tony Justino, if the plat note says based on one, correct. I agree with that. That's the code.
Thanks.
Is that clear to staff? Okay. Commissioner Shea?
So I guess I had a concern with the whole fire access, but either way, even for this thing to go forward, it would still need to get that comment cleared. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, because my concern right now is we approve this now. I walk over there, and Commissioner Kazi and I sign it. And where's the plat notes, right? So we approve it, but we're not going to be signing it until it's on the plat notes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Because, so I just want to make sure that we're not going to be walking over there to sign this thing like we usually do after.
Andrew, can you confirm? We don't have to sign it?
We don't have a Mylar right now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Commissioner McGraw.
Just one more thing, because I do understand neighbors all over Austin are having their neighborhoods recut. I would like to ask Mr. Collins a question about their concerns about this, because once this gets approved with these 4 flag lots, then I can imagine staff is going to support every possible flag lot that's going to come through here. So I guess what I want to know is if you're worried about the lot sizes or if you're worried about the flag lot precedence.
I haven't mentioned precedent, but yes, it is a worry of ours. And what you are describing is exactly what's going to happen. There, you can see the size of the lots from my tables, and those lots are going to be chopped up into numerous flag lots, and the staff is going to be citing this initial case as precedent every time.
Right. And that's your main concern. Although these lots aren't real small, but they are flag lots. Yeah. So is that your primary concern, the lot size or the flag lot?
The flag lots.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we have a motion and a second. The second was okay with the friendly?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I'm gonna,
Okay,
I'm
one
gonna
opposed.
oppose on the precedence.
Commissioner Seeger.
I would just like to make an editorial comment that in draft 3, the requirement for a public hearing on a flag lot, the variance, has been removed, and there will probably not be the extensive noticing. There may be some. So if you don't think that this is a good move, you may want to talk about it within your neighborhoods. You will not have the opportunity to come before us if it goes through as such.
We're well aware of that.
Good comment,
Okay.
good reminder. Okay, moving on.